Election officials in Georgia have repeatedly urged the president and Republicans to speak up and put a stop to increasingly violent rhetoric around the election there, including threats to staff members and election workers. Georgia election official Gabriel Sterling had these heated words yesterday.
It has to stop. Mr. President, you have not condemned these actions or this language. Senators, you have not condemned this language or these actions. This has to stop. We need you to step up, and if you're going to take a position of leadership, show some. Someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to get shot, someone's going to get killed, and it's not right.
Gabriel Sterling is kind enough to join us right now. Thanks so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you coming on the show. Now, since you made those comments yesterday, the president has not backed down. In fact, he's really doubled down, continuing to make unsubstantiated and false fraud accusations. Late last night, he tweeted, expose the massive fraud in Georgia. If he's listening tonight, what's your message to him? And how concerned are you that people could really end up physically hurt or worse because of all this?
Message to him is, Mr. President, please listen to our original message. Your language and your actions are continuing to put people at potential risk. And I'm highly concerned about it at this point. I mean, it was one thing, the Secretary of State of Georgia has been getting death threats for at least 3 weeks. His wife's been getting sexualized threats over her personal cell phone. I've gotten threats. I got police protection outside my house. But, we kind of asked to be in these roles. I've been on TV some. The Secretary ran for office. This 20-something contractor who's just working on elections, who just got a job, is now having his name out there, people saying he should be hung for treason, saying they should, God have mercy on his soul. He's just a contractor doing election work, doing simple processes. And the environment that leads to that is wrong, and it needs to be called out. It needs to be stopped.
At the center of many of these false claims being made is a vote-flipping conspiracy theory about Dominion voting systems. Can you educate our viewers as to why this conspiracy theory is just that, and vote flipping is not possible with a paper backup system?
Well, let's start with the easy math on this. In Wisconsin, in the counties where they use Dominion voting systems, the president won 59% of the vote. In Pennsylvania, in the 14 counties where they use Dominion voting systems, he got 52.5% of the vote. And in Georgia, we have a paper system, either a hand-marked paper, which is about 25% of our ballots, which were absentee, and 75% were done on a ballot marking device, where the person makes a choice on a touch screen, they print the ballot, and they look at it and say, yes, that's what I want to vote for, and they walk to a completely different device and put it into the scanner, and then it goes into a locked ballot box. In our case, we have a risk-limiting audit to kind of show that the outcome of the election is correct from what the scanners did. And since the margin was so close when we chose the presidential, we had to do a full hand retallying. And normally when you do a hand retallying, there'll be a 1 to 2% difference because human beings are the most flawed part of these processes. But in this case, we did such a good job, it was a 0.1053% off on the number of ballots and off 0.0099% off on the margins. It was a resounding success to show that these scanners did what they said they did. And even today, Sidney Powell was asked about this at a rally she had in Alpharetta, Georgia. And a person said, well, did they do a hand audit? Doesn't that mean that doesn't work? And she goes, no, they didn't. They did it on computers. I mean, they just lie. They lie and they continue to lie. And eventually they're going to whip somebody into a frenzy. And as I said yesterday, someone's going to get hurt, shot, and or killed.
When we're talking about doubt and fraud, how much does all of this hurt the incumbent Republican senators there in Georgia? And just today, allies of President Trump, including Sidney Powell, told a large crowd not to vote in the runoff.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, to say the election's not going to matter, so don't vote. Everybody should go vote. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green, I don't care. Go vote. We have a great system in this state that really allows you to know your vote counts. We just did a hand tally of all those things. And I find it ironic that another one of those people there has not voted in a Republican primary, Lynn Wood, since 2004. And he's now telling Republicans, don't vote for Republicans in the Senate race because they haven't done enough. These senators asked my boss to resign at Trump's urging. So it's kind of hard to say how much more do you want them to do on that front. And again, as y'all might have pointed out, I'm a Republican. I'm still going to vote for them because I think it's important to keep the Senate in Republican hands. But in this particular situation, I feel like they are in a box. They don't want to lose the Trump supporters. But by acting this way, they're going to lose another chunk of supporters potentially. It's a box they can't get out of, and the president, it's unfair of him to put them in this situation. It's unfair of him to continue to question the outcome of this election, not just in Georgia, but in Arizona and Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. There is no proof of any vast conspiracy. It's just not there.
But yesterday, you specifically said to be silent is to be complicit, right? And you were calling on leaders. You were calling on the senators. And so I'm just curious, because it was such an emotional and really compelling, argument that you were making. And yet you say that you're still going to vote for them. It just seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect.
I want to vote for those two because there are things that are important across the board. Honesty is important. Leadership's important. And I personally think if they showed some leadership, they would get more votes rather than less.
Looking ahead to the runoffs, how challenging is it for you in the state of Georgia to run free and fair elections in this current climate? And what do you see as your biggest challenge?
It makes it more difficult. And the thing we're going through right now is the fact that these election workers and election directors in all 159 of our counties are getting worked into the ground. Now they get the added pressure of people questioning them, monitors around questioning them, saying they're going to be going to prison. They're getting threats of similar nature, not quite death threats, but, you're going to go to prison. We know you're part of the conspiracy. These people are just doing their jobs, and there's tens of thousands of them across Georgia who I'm proud of, and I'm proud of the work they're doing, and they don't deserve to have this happening to them.
I just want to circle back, and this is my last question to you. But you were talking about basically questioning the leadership, basically saying that people who are staying silent are putting people's lives in jeopardy. And so I know that it sounds like you feel that there's still some upside, but when you're just questioning someone's willingness to allow people to potentially be hurt by their silence, I guess I'm just kind of grappling with you still saying, yes, you're gonna still vote for them, and that yet your compelling argument yesterday then seems to kind of fall a little hollow.
Linsey, being a human being sometimes means dealing with ambiguity in your own mind and trying to balance out what you think is the right thing for the long term versus the right thing when you're in the moment. And it's tough, but I've been a Republican all my life. I care about those values. I've been fighting for them for 35 years. My first campaign I worked on was in 1986 for Mac Magdalene's reelection, that he lost in Georgia. And for the long term of this, I'm going to continue to fight for the sanity and sanctity of my party and the policies and values that I want to fight for. I was angry. I still believe that. And I do think if they step up, they can do better. People will respond to leadership. I gave a speech yesterday that I had no idea would be picked up the way it has. I just did it out of sheer gut reaction. And I think people have liked it and appreciated it because of that. We have to continue to try to make sure we have the best country, and the attacks from both the left and the right on the efficacy and just the validity of our election system is wrong on all fronts. And I will continue to defend the election system in this country. We have the safest, most secure election in the history of the United States in 2020. I will go to my deathbed believing that. And I know that is true. But we also have to fight for those other values that we all want to hold up in the institutions that are undermined because of it. So President Trump was wrong to question the outcome. Stacey Abrams was wrong to question the outcome. These two senators, they still have time, in my opinion, to step up and step out and do the right thing.
And if they don't,
the privacy of the vote's a great thing, but right now I am a Republican, and I will take that to the bank for right now. I still have one of their signs in my yard, but just one, and get it. I understand. It just sounds a little weird. I'm still pissed, and I'm trying to keep it all straight as I go through the multitude of interviews. I'm just a voting system implementation manager, Linsey. I'm not supposed to be the spotlight of any of this. So forgive me if I'm not always going to have the best thing to say on some of this.
Well, no, I mean, I think that people find your passion really compelling yesterday that you expressed. And so we thank you for that. And we thank you for coming on the show tonight. Gabriel Sterling, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.